So today's lesson is about one-to-one function. So you know that you are studying function when you hear one-to-one or its inverses. So curious about one-to-one function. When we had the lesson about um, whether or not the relation is a function, we have to take a look with the x-coordinate. The x-coordinate must be unique. Wala tayong pakialam kay y-coordinate whether it's unique or not. For as long as the x-coordinate is unique, then the given relation is a function. So here in the a function, or not all functions are one-to-one. How do we know if the given function is a one-to-one function? So to easily remember one-to-one functions, try to recall that for every y, there is a unique x. Ibig sabihin nito, kung dati-dati yung ating function, kung ang ating relation dati-dati, dapat unique lang yung x, wala tayong pakialam kay y. Here, unique ang x, at the same time, unique din yung ating y. Okay? We are going to tackle also about the domain and the range of the given function and the original function. So before that, we have here, or we formally now define the given function. The given function is hello. May papasok ba? Okay, we formally define now one-to-one function. That is a function f is a one-to-one if for any x sub 1 and x sub 2 in the domain of f, then f of x sub 1 must not be equal to f of x sub 2. That is the same y value is never paired with the two different x values. Unique si x at the same time, unique si y. Now, can you tell me, you can use the chat box whether or not the given is a one-to-one. Ibig sabihin ng one-to-one ha, unique yung x, unique yung y. The relation pairing an SSS member to his or her SSS number. Sorry, the relation pairing an SSS member to his or her SSS number. Can you tell me if that is one-to-one or not one-to-one? You can use a chat box, please. Dalawa lang yung pagpipilian natin. One-to-one ba siya or hindi siya one-to-one? Andrea said it's one-to-one. What about the others? Kiana said it's one-to-one. James Pacheco also said it's one-to-one. Okay, that is correct. Um, good job. So it's a one-to-one because each member or each SSS member is assigned to a unique SSS number. The relation is a function, and then further, two different members cannot be assigned the same SSS number. Thus, the function is kulang one-to-one function. Just like your LRN number, no two students having the same LRN number. So it's also an example of one-to-one function. Next up, number two, the relation pairing a number to its square. One-to-one function or not one-to-one. The relation pairing a real number to its square. It's not one-to-one according to James Pacheco. Andrea said it's not one-to-one. May I hear from the others if it's a one-to-one or not one-to-one? John Mark said it's not one-to-one. Okay, very good. Remember that each real number has a unique perfect square. Thus, the relation is a function. Tama naman, function siya. However, two different real numbers such as 2 and negative 2 may have the same square. Thus, the function is not one-to-one. Kasi yung 2, pag in-square natin yan, that's 4. And negative 2, when you are going to square that, that is also 4. Meaning to say, the y-coordinate now is not unique. Okay, very good. Number 3, the relation pairing an airport to its airport code. So, for those students who experience na sumakay si airplane, you are familiar with the airport code. Kadalasan yan yung nilalagay sa baggage natin para alam noong um, alam nung yung airport code ang pupuntahan mo, alam noong say for example yung mga baggage attendant kung saan pupunta ang hindi ka mawawala o hindi ka maliligaw doon sa pupuntahan mo. Kiana said it's one-to-one. Ashley said it's one-to-one. John Mark and Andrea said it's one-to-one. Okay, that's correct. Airport codes are three-letter codes used to uniquely identify airports around the world and prominently displayed on check-in baggage to denote the destination of these bags. So that's a one-to-one kasi wala namang airport na magkaparehas ang kanilang airport code. Some examples of airport codes are the MNL or the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. So ang MNL na yan ay ginagamit yan sa lahat ng terminal sa NAIA. So pag galing ka sa abroad, pupunta ka ng Pilipinas, ang makikita mo doon sa iyong check-in baggage ay ang airport code na MNL. We also have the CEB. If you're going to Cebu, the airport code there is CEB or the Mactan Cebu International Airport. If you're going to Davao, the airport code in Davao is DBO. That's the Francisco Bangoy International Airport. And if you're going to if you're going abroad, that's JFK or the John F. Kennedy International Airport that is located in New York City. And we also have the CDG or the Charles de Gaulle International Airport, which is located in Paris, France. So since airport has a unique airport code, then the relation is a function. And since no two airports share the same airport code, then the function is one-to-one. Let's have the second to the last. The relation pairing a person to his or her citizenship. Is it one-to-one function or not? May tao ba na dalawa ang kanyang citizenship? Oh, it's not one-to-one daw. Majority answered it's not one-to-one. That is correct. The relation is not a function to begin with because a person can have dual citizenship. Citizenship is not unique. Okay? Hindi ko lang alam kung tama itong nabasa ko, no? Forgive me kung mali itong information na maibigay ko that a person can have 3 maximum citizenship. Okay, pero may mga bansa na hindi ina-allow yung citizenship. Like for example, China. Hindi sila nag-allow na maging citizen tayo nila, kumbaga. So, going back to the problem, it is not a function to begin with kasi gaya ng sinabi ko, a person can have dual citizenship. Okay? Last one. Wala na pala. Sorry. So, you are familiar with the horizontal line test. Vertical line test, sorry. A horizontal line test is a function or we do the horizontal line test using the graph. Kapag horizontal line test, malalaman natin kung ang graph ay one-to-one o hindi. If a function is one-to-one, if each horizontal line does not intersect the graph at more than one point. If the given graph passes the vertical line test, meaning to say that graph is a function. If the given graph passes vertical line test and at the same time horizontal line test, that function is said to be a one-to-one function. I hope you're still familiar with the vertical line test. So when you say vertical line test, when you are going to draw a vertical line in any part of the Cartesian plane, it will only intersect the graph at exactly one point. That's a function. Pero kapag kagamitan mo siya ng horizontal line test at isang beses lang din siya nag-intersect, that function is said to be a one-to-one function. Okay? So how do we find now? Because not all functions have inverses. There are functions whose inverses, meron kang makuhang inverses but that inverses does not exist. Later on, we are going to examine what are those functions that have inverses. Okay? So to find the inverse of a one-to-one function, you have to consider these three steps. You have to write the function in the form of y is equal to f of x, since y is the same as f of x. The second one is to interchange the position of the x and the y variable. Kung yan ay y, you change it to x. Kung yan ay x, you change it to y. Then we have to solve for y in terms of x. And last, kalimutan ko, you have to change y to f inverse of x. That is the symbol for the inverse of the given function. I also included here finding for the domain and the range of the given function. Kasi mas madali siya. Okay, let's have number one. If the given function is f of x is equal to 3x plus 2, we have to find the inverse or f inverse of x. The first one is to change, ang sabi natin kanina, by the way, the domain of the given function here, since that is a linear function, of course, all sets of real number. And the range here is, dahil yan ay linear function, it's a set of all real number din. So wala siyang restriction, meaning to say lahat po pwede. Unahan ko na yung range, sorry. Dapat wala mo ng range. Okay, the first step is to change f of x into y. And then the second step is to interchange the position of x and y. So y becomes x now. 3x will become 3y plus 2. That's step number 2. And we have to solve for y in terms of x. So solving for y now, this is x minus 2 is equal to 3y. X minus 2 equals 3y is the same as 3y equals x minus 2. And we solve now for y. Divide both sides by 3. So our y here is x minus 2 over 3. And the last step is to change y to the symbol of the inverse. So we have if inverse of x is equal to x minus 2 over 3. This is now the inverse of the given function. The domain here is the range of the original function. While the range here is yung domain naman noong original na function. Kaya siya inverses. The domain of the original function becomes the range of the inverse, and the domain of the inverse becomes the range of the original function. Okay, question so far. First step is to change x, change f of x to y. That's the first step. The second step is interchange y and x, and then solve for x, solve for y rather, in terms of x. Then lastly is to change y into the symbol for the function, for the inverse function f of 1 of x. Okay? Let us have number 2. Kasi yung number 1 kasi ay linear function siya. So basically, the domain and the range there is a set of all real number. What will happen kapag hindi real number ngayon yung ating domain at saka yung range? So first is to change f of x to y. That will be 2x plus 1 over 3x minus 4. Who can give me the domain of the original function? Pag sinabing domain, anything that is the value of x, when you are going to substitute it to the function, it will make the function define. It will give us an answer. Yung tipong kapag nilagay natin siya sa calculator, hindi syntax error ang sasabihin ng calculator sa atin. So, ibig sabihin, nagiging undefined lang yan kapag ang denominator natin ay 0. So ano ang magpapa-zero sa denominator ngayon? Para yun yung babantayan natin. Anyone? When is the denominator 0? Uh, I think someone is raising. John Mark.
Sir, 4/3 po.
That's correct. Para hindi kayo malito, gawin mo 3x minus 4 should not be equal to 0. Isolve mo siya. And then 3x must not be equal to 4. Divide both side by 3. So our x now should be not equal to 4/3. So all values of x are possible except 4/3. So the domain there is that also is a real number such that x must not be equal to 4/3. Because it will make 4/3 the function undefined. Okay? The second step now is to interchange the position of x and y. So y becomes x, and then 2x becomes 2y, 3x becomes 3y minus 4. And we solve for x in terms, we solve for y rather in terms of x. So we have to multiply this one, the LCD, which is 3y minus 4. This is 2y plus 1 over 3y minus 4. Multiply it by the LCD, which is 3y minus 4. So you can eliminate this. So you will be left with x times 3y minus 4 is equal to 2y plus 1. Multiply this using distributive property. That is 3xy minus 4x is equal to 2y plus 1. Since we are going to solve for the value of y in terms of x, lahat noong, in layman's term, lahat ng y ilipat natin doon sa left side lahat. Wala namang silbi itong 4x or negative 4x sa left side. You have to transpose it to the right side. So you will be left with 3xy minus 2y is equal to 4x plus 1. Merong common factor yung nasa right side. Kailangan mailabas natin yung y. May common sila which is y. 3xy divided by y, that's 3x. That's factoring using common monomial factor. And the negative 2y divided by y, that is negative 2, is equal to 4x plus 1. Okay? And then since we are going to solve for y in terms of x, you have to divide this one by 3x minus 2 and then 3x minus 2. So our y will be 4x plus 1 over 3x minus 2. And therefore, the inverse of the given function is 4x plus 1 over 3x minus 2. So what's the domain here? It's a set of all real number such that x must not be equal to, ano ang magpapa-zero sa denominator natin dito sa inverse function? Ang 3x minus 2, ano dapat yung value ng x para mag-zero siya?
Sir,
Chan Mark?
2/3 po.
That's correct. Okay, solve mo lang yan 3x minus 2 equals 0. So that will be x must not be equal to 2/3. This will be 2 over 3. Now this domain will be the range here of the original function. That's all sets of real number. Dahil range yan, y must not be equal to 2/3. Samantalang itong domain ng original function, siya naman ang magiging range dito. We have here sets of all real numbers such that y must not be equal to 4/3. Remember that range pertains to the y. When you substitute the value of x, those are the resulting value. Lahat pwede maliban kay y is equal to 4/3. So marami tayong hahanapin. 5, domain and range ng original function, domain and range ng inverse function, and the inverse function itself. questions so far? Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes um, to answer number one. If it exists, you don't need to sketch the graph. Later, tingnan natin kung paano natin siya i-sketch doon sa GeoGebra. You may copy it so I can change my slide para meron kayong susundan.
Sir,
John Mark,
2x po ba yung nasa top po ng, ano, nasa numerator po?
3x minus 1 over
Okay po, sir.
2x plus 5. Can I change the slide now?
Wait lang po, sir. Okay na po. Thank you po.
Sige. Maybe this is example will help you on how to find the inverse of the given function. If you are done, you can type your um, inverse function sa chat box. 2 minutes more. Can we have the answer? Saan nahirapan? Doon na sa solving for y in terms of x? Or totally hindi sinagutan? Wala magsagot. Kiana's answer, the the inverse is 5x minus 1 over 2x. 2x minus 3? Ay, 2x plus 3 Kian or 2x minus?
Diyan nga po ako medyo nalito, sir, sa
Ah,
trans.
gets ko kung bakit again.
Kaya po medyo nag-alangan po ako sa paglalagay na answer.
Pero meron ba tayong problema sa pagkukuha ng domain? Kaya ako to sinabay dahil baliktad lang naman ang domain and range rather than having a separate lesson for this one. From Andrea Asparin, the inverse is 5x minus 1 over 2x minus 3. Ah, okay. Alam ko na kung sa pinagkamali. Okay. Sige. Let us answer the next. The the given function is 3x minus 1 and then over 2x plus 5. So we have to change f of x to y. That's 3x minus 1 over 2x plus 5. But I forget to indicate the domain of the original function, that is all sets of real number, such that x must not be equal to, what's the domain?
5 over 2 po.
Negative. Negative 5 over 2. Yun yung domain niya. So, ibig sabihin, yung real number such that x must not be equal to negative 5 over 2 will be the range of the inverse function that we are solving now. So we have now x interchange. That's 3y minus 1 over 2y plus 5. Tapos pwede mo siyang ano mo na lang, cross multiply. Although there's no such thing in mathematics as cross multiply, ha. Talagang LCD ang ginagawa natin yan. So y times 2y, or x rather times 2y plus 5 is equal to 3y minus 1. And then you solve here using distributive property. That's 5x. That is equal to 3y minus 1. Lahat ng y ilagay natin doon sa left side. This will be 2xy minus 3y. Ito naman ang ilipat niya. Huwag mo siyang kakalimutan. It's negative 5x minus 1. Ito kayo nagkamali sa paglilipat. Okay? So, we have to solve for y. Meron siyang common. Pareha siyang may y. Then, 2xy divided by y, that's 2x. Negative 3y divided by y, that's negative 3. Is equal to negative 5x minus 1. So 2x minus 3 equals negative 5x minus 1. We divide this one by 2x minus 3. Ito naman ay 2x minus 3. So yung ating inverse will be negative 5x minus 1 over 2x minus 3. And do not forget to to change y to f inverse of x. That will be equal to negative 5x minus 1 over 2x minus 3. So here, the domain of the inverse is a set of all real numbers such that x must not be equal to 3 over 2. Na ngayon ay magiging range naman dito sa original function. Sets of all real number such that y must not be equal to 3 over 2. Samantalang ang range dito, yun yung domain ng original, which is a set of all real number such that y must not be equal to negative 5 over 2. Medyo marami tayong hinahanap, ano? Sa isang problem, 5 ang hinahanap natin. But if you have the inverse of the function, madali nilang mahanap yung 4 na yun. Question so far? No one is unmuting himself or herself. So I hope I get the signal clear that you understand example number 1. Now, how do we know if the given function, the inverse of the given function exists? Just like here, number 1. Find the nakalimutan ko i-graph. Sabi niya kasi sketch the graph. You are not going to graph it manually kasi ang hirap. So what we are going to do is I am using an application. It's called GeoGebra. Here you are going to input the function. The original function is y is equal to 3x, is the parenthesis, 3x minus 1 divided by 2x plus 5. That's the original function. And then the inverse function here is y is equal to, what's the inverse? Negative 5x minus 1 all over, let's divide 2x minus 3. So I want you to observe the orange one. Ano pa siya lalaki yun. The orange one is the original function, while the violet graph is the inverse of the given function. So as you can see, the um, the domain ba to shifted here. Hindi ko siya masulatan. Para sulatan. Yan. So, nung nasa face-to-face kami, imamano-mano natin yan. Pero I don't want to give you na may hirap na, although you are going to appreciate the beauty of mathematics if you know how to graph manually. Kasi itong GeoGebra is only for checking purposes. Now, going back to my question earlier, how do we know if the given function, the inverse of the given function exists? Wala, nabura ko. Okay, just like this one. Find the inverse of x squared plus 4x minus 2 if it exists. If you are familiar with that graph, basically it's a quadratic. And you know that a quadratic function will not satisfy the horizontal line test. Ang quadratic function, the graph of the quadratic function is a parabola. If you are going to do the vertical line test, it will satisfy the vertical line test, meaning to say that is a function. But if you are going to draw a horizontal line test, technically it will not satisfy the horizontal line test, which means x squared plus 4x minus 2 is not a one-to-one function. But we are going to show in our solution that the inverse of that function does not exist. How do we do it? Same process. That is x squared plus 4x minus 2. And then y here is x squared plus 4x minus 2. The next step is to interchange the position of x and y. That is y, nagiging x na siya. X squared will be y squared. 4x will be 4y minus 2. And then solve for x in terms of, I solve for y rather in terms of x. So this will be x plus 2 y squared plus 4y, which is the same as y squared plus 4y is equal to x plus 2. Now, you look at the right side, it doesn't make sense if we are going to factor y squared plus 4y. Bakit? Kasi, pag ipa-factor natin yan, y squared plus 4y, the common factor is y, so we have y plus 4. Pag dinivide ko yan dito sa left side na y plus 4, meron ulit akong y. So, iikot lang ng iikot yung aking solution. So, this is wrong. Mawawala or hahaba lang siya ng haba na wala siyang patutunguhan. So, we are going to make the left side a perfect square trinomial. For those of you who still remember the Grademan lesson, when we are going to make a quadratic function into a perfect square trinomial, we'll be making use of the completing the square. So we have here y squared plus 4y. When you say completing the square, you have to add the square of b to each of the, to the right and the left side. So ang half ng b natin dyan ay, ang b kasi natin dyan ay 4. So, numerical coefficient. Half niya ay 2 and then squared, 2 times, so that's 4. To balance the equation, dapat mag-add ka din ng 4 sa kabila. Kaya yung ating left side ngayon ay perfect square trinomial na siya, which is equal to x plus 6. So, para matanggal itong naka-square na to, pero radical natin, so x plus 6, pero radical din natin para matanggal natin yung naka-square. So, ang matitira mo ay y plus 2 equals the square root of x plus 6. Solving for y, we have here x plus 6 plus 2, which means that this, the inverse does not exist. Why? Taking the value of 3 as, bakit x plus 2 pa din? Dapat x minus 2. Halimbawa, ang radical kasi meron tayong dalawang sagot niyan, plus, minus. Okay? Assuming that your value of x is 3, when you are going to substitute here 3, x plus 6, magiging 3 plus 6, you will be left with plus 3 and negative 3. Ibig sabihin, hindi ngayon unique yung ating y. That makes the given function the inverse now does not exist. Meron ka makukuha ang inverse pero hindi nag-exist ang inverse unless the problem will make some restrictions that the value of the x must be greater than or equal to 0. That way, we are going to disregard negative. Okay? But the concept here in example number 2 is for you to visualize that not all functions have an inverse function. Let's have the last one. Show that f of x is equal to 4x plus 3 over 2x minus 6 is a one-to-one function. Wag na siguro show, palitan na natin kasi hahaba. Um, Find the inverse na lang kasi was still at 18 minutes. You may copy and then I'll change later the slide para meron kayong gagayahan. Gaya ng sinabi ko pa ulit-ulit, masyadong mahirap sa inyo kapag titignan nyo lang yung problem at hindi mo talaga siya susubukan. It's okay na hindi mo makuha nung una mong try. Huwag mawawala ng pag-asa. Kasi hindi naman talaga yan makukuha in just one click of your hand. Can I change the slide? Hala, tabura. Hindi ko siya na-save. Ulitin ko na lang. Sige, 3y, para meron kayong gayaan ha. Ayan. Sige. Meron na. Ubus natin ng oras. Sige, let us answer. Pwede mo ipagpatuloy yung solution habang sinasagutan natin itong last number. So first, we have to identify the domain of the original function. That's a set of all real number such that x must not be equal to positive 3. Kasi ang 3 ang magpapasiro ngayon sa ating 2x minus 6 ating function. So, interchange f of x to y, that's 4x plus 3 over 2x minus 6. And then y becomes x now. So 4y plus 3 over 2y minus 6. Then you do the cross multiplication. So we have here x times 2y minus 6 is equal to 4x plus 3. Let me read the final answer of John Mark. That's 6x plus 3 over 3x, 2x minus 4. Nakalimutan mo yung 2, John Mark. So, distributing this, we have 2xy minus 6x is equal to 4x. Tama ba ako? May nakaligtaan. 4x plus 3. Okay, correct? So tama ang sagot ni John Mark. Solution ko ang mali. 2x. Alam ko na. 4y pala ito. Hindi siya 4x. Sorry. So we have now 2xy minus 6x is equal to 4y plus 3. And then 2xy minus 4y here is equal to 6x plus 3. Kailangan ko lang naman ng y, ano? Hindi naman kailangan natin lahat. So we have here 2x minus 4 is equal to 6x plus 3. Dividing both sides by 2x minus 4, 2x minus 4. So our y there is 6x plus 3 over 2x minus 4, or that is 6x plus 3 over 2x minus 4. I think John Mark got it correctly. Let me check. 6x plus 3 over 2x. Very good. Nakuha siya. So the domain here is, for the inverse, is the set of all real numbers. Ang x natin must not be equal to positive 2. So ang magiging range ngayon dito ay set of all real number, ang y natin ay not equal to positive 2. Samantalang ang range ng ating inverse, yun namang domain ng original, real number such that y must not be equal to positive. John Mark?
Sir, tama po ba ang pagkakaintindi ko? Yung domain po sa original, yung yun yung magiging range sa bagong domain. Tapos yung range sa bagong domain, yun yung magiging range.
Baliktaran lang siya. Kasi kung isa-solve natin isa-isa ng ang domain and range ng original function, ahaba eh. So, might as well, we have to find the inverse and the domain of the inverse will be the range now of the original. Mas madali kasi maghanap ng domain kaysa maghanap ng range. Now, this will be your activity number 6 to be submitted sa Google Classroom. We still have 4 lessons bago mag-end ang third grading. Kailangan yung hanapin ang inverse, kailangan mong hanapin ang domain at saka ng range ng original at ng inverse function. I-do na screenshot kasi baka Wednesday o bukas ko pa ito masasend. Na umalis ko, kunin ko yung attendance.